Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we really get into the practical wisdom behind some really impactful ideas.
Glad to be here.
So today, we're embarking on a journey into something that, well, it touches everyone. The incredible power of small changes, something often, underestimated.
Definitely.
We all strive for self-improvement, right?
Yeah.
Building better routines, becoming maybe the person we envision. But here's the kicker, I think. We often chase these grand, sweeping transformations.
Mm-hmm. The overnight success myth.
Exactly. When the real magic, the change that actually sticks, it seems to lie somewhere else entirely.
Uh-huh.
So our specific deep dive today, it's James Clear's, groundbreaking book, Atomic Habits. It's hugely popular for a reason.
It really is. It's resonated with millions.
And our mission really is to unpack Clear's brilliant framework. It's quite systematic, isn't it? For building good habits, yes, but also, crucially, for breaking down the bad ones.
That dismantling part is key.
Yeah. We want to reveal how these, seemingly tiny adjustments, almost microscopic sometimes, can lead to absolutely monumental results in your life. When you do them consistently, of course.
That consistency is everything.
It feels counterintuitive, but in a good way, a liberating way. It's not about these dramatic overhauls. It's something much more subtle, more powerful, and frankly, just more doable. Okay, let's unpack this.
What's fascinating here, and, why Atomic Habits hits home for so many, is that this desire for self-improvement is universal, absolutely universal.
Right. Everyone wants something better.
We all have those goals, those aspirations, things we want to achieve or maybe change about ourselves, getting fitter, learning a skill, just being more organized, you name it. But the common pitfall, like you said, is seeking those massive instant transformations. We think, I need to lose 50 pounds now, or I'm going to write a novel this month.
Yeah, the all-or-nothing trap.
Exactly. And Clear's central argument just cuts right through that noise. He basically says, what really matters isn't the big, heroic effort you make once in a blue moon, which is often totally unsustainable anyway.
Right.
Instead, it's about accumulating hundreds, literally hundreds, of these small, continuous improvements. That's the phrase he uses. And they compound over time.
Compound, like interest.
Precisely. We'll get into that. But even the term atomic habits, it's so significant. Think about it. Atoms, right? They're the tiny, fundamental building blocks of everything.
Okay.
In the same way, these atomic habits are the fundamental building blocks of who you are, what you achieve. They're tiny, you barely notice them day to day, but put them together consistently, and they have immense transformative power. So this deep dive, it's kind of a shortcut, really, to understanding a proven system for personal growth. We're giving you actionable insights that cut through all that quick fix stuff.
Yeah, getting past the hype.
And getting past the paralysis of thinking you need these massive, unrealistic changes. It's about empowering you, the listener, to build a system that actually works for you instead of just relying on, willpower, which can be pretty fickle.
That's a perfect setup, challenging that quick fix mentality.
Yeah.
Clear really does force us to rethink things, doesn't he? We're sort of conditioned, maybe by society, maybe just by ourselves, to aim for these huge goals, picturing some dramatic finish line.
The big win.
But his core idea, like you said, hundreds of small, continuous improvements, not big, dramatic changes. It makes you stop and think, why do we gravitate toward the colossal, the thing that seems almost impossible, when the real power, the sustainable power, might just be in those tiny daily steps?
This is a fundamental shift.
It really is.
Yeah.
A complete flip from needing this total life overhaul, becoming a different person overnight. Instead, he's advocating for these, deliberate incremental adjustments, almost like fine-tuning.
Exactly like fine-tuning. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that word atomic, it's not just catchy, it's the key. Like we said, atoms in physics, small, fundamental, but combine them, they form everything.
Okay, I see the analogy.
Clear's saying atomic habits are the same for your life. Each tiny habit, each small action, drinking one extra glass of water, reading one page, seems insignificant on its own, right? You don't feel different immediately.
No, not at all.
But combine them, repeat them consistently. They compound.
Right, the compounding effect.
Yeah.
Let's dig into that, because I think that's where people, myself included sometimes, miss the point.
It's absolutely crucial, because these small, continuous improvements, they don't just add up like 1 + 1 + 1, they multiply. It's exponential growth over time, leading to what he calls extraordinary results.
Extraordinary. From tiny things.
Yes. Think compound interest in finance. A tiny percentage gain each day doesn't look like much initially, but over months, years, it yields a fortune. Clear has that famous calculation, right? If you get just 1% better each day for a
Oh,
year,
yeah, I remember this.
you end up, what is it, 37 times better by the end of the year? That's an exponential curve, not a straight line.
37 times. Wow.
But our brains often expect linear progress. We put in effort today. We want to see a result today. And when we don't get that immediate feedback, we get discouraged. We think it's not working.
Yeah, that makes sense. We want the reward now.
Exactly.
I
So
got
this
it.
perspective, it fundamentally shifts how you should view success. It's not about one single huge achievement way off in the distance.
Really?
It's about a continuous process, tiny daily victories. You're not waiting for the marathon finish line. You're celebrating putting your running shoes on today. You're celebrating the consistency, the act of showing up.
Showing up, even if it's just for a little bit.
Precisely. And that invisible power is fascinating. Day to day, these changes are often imperceptible. You don't feel fitter after one workout. You don't feel smarter after reading one page,
Sure.
which makes them so easy to dismiss, so easy to just not bother, because the immediate reward is tiny or delayed. But over weeks, months, years, the accumulated impact becomes undeniable. It's huge. And that's why they are so crucial to adopt, even when it feels like insignificant, even when progress feels frustratingly slow at the start. You have to trust the process. Trust that those atomic inputs lead to profound change.
That invisible power,
Hmm.
I think that's the hurdle. Our brains are just not wired for that kind of slow burn, are they? We want the fireworks now.
We really do. Instant gratification culture.
Yeah. But what you're saying about compounding and how it leads to who you become, that connects perfectly to another really profound idea in the book. Maybe the most profound.
Which one are you thinking of?
The shift from just focusing on what you do to focusing on who you become. He says, and I'm paraphrasing slightly, we should focus on who we want to become, not just what we want to achieve.
Ah, yes. The identity-based habits. Huge.
It sounds subtle, maybe just semantics, but it feels like a massive difference, right? It goes way deeper than just setting goals. It's about aligning with a new self-image, not just checking boxes. Here's where it gets really interesting.
It really, really does, because that distinction
Mm.
between outcome-based habits and identity-based habits, that might be one of the most transformative pieces in the whole book. Most of us, let's be honest,
Yeah.
we approach habits from an outcome-based view. We say, I want to read this book, or I want to lose 10 pounds, or I want to write that blog post. The focus is all on the result, the external thing.
Makes sense. That's the goal.
Right. But Clear argues that's way less effective than focusing on identity-based habits.
Okay, so break that down. Identity-based.
Here, the focus flips. It's about who you want to become. So instead of, I want to read a book, the thought process, the internal talk becomes, I am a reader.
I am a reader.
Or instead of, I want to run a marathon, it's, I am a runner. Instead of, I want to write, it's, I am a writer.
Okay, I feel the difference there. It's more internal.
Exactly. And the power of self-perception in that shift. It's immense. It's far more powerful than just stating a goal. When you declare, I am a reader, you're not just hoping for something, you're actively aligning your actions with how you see yourself. The habit, reading in this case, becomes a natural extension of who you believe you are.
So it's not something you force yourself to do anymore?
Precisely. It stops being an external chore, something you have to grit your teeth and push through using willpower. It becomes an internal imperative. It's just who you are.
Wow.
And that creates this incredibly deep intrinsic motivation. When a habit is part of your identity, you don't need the same level of external willpower because you're not fighting yourself. You just do it. It feels natural because it fits your self-concept.
So it becomes more sustainable.
Way more sustainable in the long run. Think about it. If you identify as a healthy person, choosing the salad over fries isn't this constant agonizing battle against temptation.
Right.
It's just what a healthy person does. It feels congruent. If you identify as an organized person, tidying your desk isn't a monumental task. It's just part of maintaining who you are.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It lowers the resistance.
Massively. And here's the beautiful feedback loop. Every single small action you take then reinforces that desired identity.
The votes.
Exactly. Every time you read even one page, you're not just getting closer to finishing the book, you're casting a vote, as Clear puts it, for the identity of a reader.
Like proving it to yourself.
Proving it to yourself, building evidence. Every time you choose the stairs, you cast a vote for being an active person. These votes, no matter how tiny, they add up. They strengthen that identity.
So the behavior becomes easier, more automatic.
Almost automatic, yeah. Because it's deeply integrated into your sense of self. You're building proof brick by brick, vote by vote for the person you want to become.
That idea of casting votes, It's such a powerful mental trick, isn't it? Because it makes even the tiniest action feel significant. Like, okay, I just put my dish in the dishwasher, immediately vote for being tidy.
Exactly. It gives meaning to the small stuff.
So, okay, we've got this really profound philosophy. Focus on identity, understand compounding. But, the practical side. How do we actually do this in the day-to-day messiness of life? Clear doesn't just leave us with theory, right? He gives us that toolkit,
The 4 laws, yes.
the 4 laws of behavior change, which feel like a really straightforward, almost elegant framework. It's for building the good habits, sure, but also, just as importantly, for systematically taking apart the bad ones.
It's very practical, a blueprint.
Yeah, like a blueprint for engineering your own behavior, whether you want to learn Japanese or just, floss regularly. Let's dive into the first one. It's all about environment, right?
Spot on. Law number 1, make it obvious.
Make it obvious. So the core idea is make the cues, the triggers for your good habits. Super obvious. So obvious you can't really ignore them.
Staring you in the face.
And conversely, for the bad habits you want to ditch, you want to make their cues invisible. Hide them away.
Exactly.
It's about designing your surroundings to work for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Instead of constantly fighting your environment with sheer willpower. What's the psychology there? How do we actually leverage that?
Well, this law is absolutely fundamental because, look, our environment is this incredibly powerful driver of our behavior, but we often overlook it, right?
Totally. We think it's all us.
We think it's all conscious choice willpower. But reality, we're constantly, almost subconsciously responding to these habit cues all around us. Triggers, sensory inputs, things that signal, hey, do this now.
Okay.
So Clear argues if you want to start a good habit, make its cue unmistakable, unmissable.
Give me an example, like the ones in the book.
Okay, the classic one. If you want to drink more water daily, always keep your water bottle on your desk, right there, in your line of sight.
Syphilis.
Super simple, super obvious. That bottle just sitting there acts as this constant, gentle reminder. It's a visual cue that almost nudges you to take a sip. Way more effective than just trying to remember to drink more water.
Yeah, removes the mental effort.
Totally. Or, if you want to exercise first thing, lay out your workout clothes the night before, right by the bed.
Done that. It works.
It does. That visual cue makes the action obvious, and it removes a decision point when you're still groggy and willpower is low.
Okay, so that's for good habits. What about the bad ones? Making them invisible.
The inverse applies just as powerfully. If you want to stop doing something undesirable, make its cues disappear. So, mindless snacking on junk food.
Guilty.
Don't get the chips on the counter. Don't keep cookies in that easily accessible jar where they're practically shouting your name every time you walk past.
Put them away, out of sight.
Put them out of sight, high covered, back of the pantry. Better yet, don't buy them in the first place. Remove the cue entirely.
Right. Don't bring the temptation home.
Exactly. Or spending too much time on your phone. Don't keep it right next to your bed. Where just seeing it triggers that urge to scroll endlessly.
Yeah, the bedside table trap.
Charge it in another room overnight. Put it in a drawer during work hours. Make the cue invisible.
So it's not about resisting temptation through sheer force of will.
Not primarily, no. It's about being proactive. It's about creating an environment that naturally supports the good stuff and makes the bad stuff harder, or at least less likely, to happen without constant mental effort.
Engineering your world for automatic success.
That's a great way to put it. You rig the game in your favor. You shift the burden from your limited willpower onto your environment design. It's a game changer, truly.
Okay, that makes total sense. Rig the game. I like that. Play offense with your environment, not defense with willpower. All right, so law 1. Make it obvious. We see the cue, but seeing it isn't always enough to make us want to do it right.
True. Awareness isn't always action.
Which brings us neatly to Clear's second law. Make it attractive. The idea here is, well, make the good habits fun, appealing, desirable. We're wired for pleasure, right? How do we use that?
We absolutely are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. So Law 2 says, let's leverage that. Make the good habits fun and attractive. And the key strategy he talks about, the one that gets a lot of attention, is temptation bundling.
Temptation bundling. Okay, unpack that.
It's basically pairing an action you want to do, something you genuinely enjoy, with an action you need to do, something you maybe find a bit tedious or less appealing.
Like pairing chores with treats.
Sort of, yeah. The book gives that great example. If you want to exercise, only allow yourself to listen to your favorite podcast while you exercise.
Okay, I see. So you link the thing you want, the
Yeah.
podcast, to the thing you should do, exercise.
Exactly. You might not be thrilled about hitting the treadmill, maybe the thought of sweating feels like a drag, but you are excited about that new podcast episode or maybe that audiobook you're hooked on. By bundling them, you create this powerful, positive association. The anticipation of the fun part, the podcast. The story becomes the motivator for the less attractive part, the exercise. It makes the exercise itself feel more valuable, more appealing.
So it's hacking your brain's reward system.
Totally. It taps right into dopamine. Dopamine isn't just about feeling pleasure after the fact. It's huge for the anticipation of pleasure. It drives the wanting.
Ah, the craving.
Yes. So when you bundle should do with want to do, you create this anticipation loop. Your brain starts linking the exercise with the upcoming reward of the podcast. The desire for that reward pulls you through the habit.
So it feels less like a chore.
Way less like a chore and more like the gateway to something you enjoy. You're not just going for a run, you're going for a run while listening to my favorite true crime podcast.
Yeah.
That little reframe driven by bundling makes a huge difference in sticking with it. You're making the journey itself more appealing.
That's clever. Trick your brain into wanting the hard stuff. Okay, so Law 1, make it obvious. Law 2, make it attractive. We see it, we kind of want to do it, but let's be real. Even attractive things can feel overwhelming if they seem too hard to start.
Absolutely. The activation energy.
Which leads us perfectly to Law 3, make it easy. This feels critical. It's about cutting down the friction, right?
Yeah.
Making the good habits so simple, so effortless, there's basically no reason not to do them.
Exactly. Radically reducing friction.
It sounds simple, maybe too simple, but I think this is where a lot of us stumble. We make things way too complicated or ambitious right from the start. What's the big mistake here?
You nailed it. The biggest mistake is setting the bar way too high, especially initially. Human behavior follows the path of least resistance, always. The less effort a habit requires, the more likely we are to stick with it.
So aiming too high is self-sabotage.
Often, yes. We convince ourselves to be a runner, I must run 5 miles every single morning from day one. Or to meditate, I need 30 minutes of perfect silence.
I've done that. Then you miss one day.
And you feel like a failure. You get discouraged, you give up, and you reinforce that negative identity. See, I'm just not a runner.
Right. So how does make it easy fix that?
Through Clear's brilliant 2-minute rule, or sometimes framed as the too small to ignore rule, he says, essentially, don't set a huge goal at first. Make it so small it's almost impossible not to do.
Like ridiculously small.
Yes, ridiculously small. The goal, especially when you're starting out, isn't maximum output. It's just showing up. Consistency over intensity.
So give me examples from the book again.
Okay. Exercise for just 5 minutes. Or read just 1 page.
5 minutes, 1 page. That feels like nothing.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
feels like nothing in terms of output, maybe. But the act of doing it, putting on your shoes and walking for 5 minutes, opening the book and reading 1 page that builds momentum, it reinforces the identity. I am someone who exercises. I am someone who reads. It overcomes that crucial initial hurdle, the activation energy.
The getting started part. That's always the hardest.
It really is. Think of it like starting a cold car engine. It needs a bit more juice just to get going. By making the first step incredibly small and easy, you lower that barrier almost to 0.
So other examples, like if I want to eat healthier.
Maybe pre-chop your veggies on Sunday. Make it easy to throw them in a stir fry later. Want to write more? Commit to writing just 1 sentence. Want to learn guitar? Just take the guitar out of its case.
Just the first tiny step.
Just the first tiny step. Minimize the effort, physical and mental, to begin. The path of least resistance becomes the path of consistency. Build the routine of showing up first, then worry about increasing intensity or duration later. Conquer inertia first.
I love that. Showing up, not perfection. Takes the pressure right off. Makes starting feel, well, easy. Okay, so that's obvious, attractive, easy.
Right.
What's the final piece? Law 4 feels like it addresses the reward problem, especially for habits where the payoff is way down the line.
Exactly. Law 4. Make it satisfying.
Make it satisfying. We often know good habits are good for us long term. Better health, more money, whatever. But that payoff is delayed. Clear says we need to immediately reward good habits. Why is that so vital?
Because, again, it taps into fundamental human psychology. We crave immediate gratification. Our brains are wired to repeat actions that give us satisfaction right now.
Like checking social media.
Hmm.
Or Eating a cookie.
Precisely. Those actions provide an instant hit of dopamine, a little pleasure burst, which makes them incredibly reinforcing even if they're bad for us long term. Good habits like exercise or saving money often don't give you that immediate feel-good kick. The reward is abstract, distant.
So your brain doesn't link the action to a reward effectively.
Not immediately, no, which makes the habit harder to stick with. So Clear says we need to create artificial immediate rewards to bridge that gap between the action now and the benefit later.
Artificial rewards. How?
One really powerful, practical way is tracking your progress. The source mentions you can track your progress. This can be super simple. Mark an X on a calendar every day you do the habit.
Ah, the Seinfeld method. Don't break the chain.
Exactly. Or use a habit tracker app, keep a journal. Each check mark, each filled box, that visual proof of consistency that provides immediate, tangible feedback. It's a small, satisfying win. It tells your brain, hey, you did the thing. Good job. Let's do it again tomorrow.
It's like a mini celebration.
It is. Another approach is to literally give yourself a small reward every time you complete a habit.
Like what kind of reward? A donut after a workout.
Haha. Well, ideally not something that undermines the habit itself. It should be small, genuinely satisfying, and maybe even aligned with your goals or identity. So maybe after your workout, you listen to a favorite song you only listen to post-workout.
Okay.
Or after you finish your writing session, you enjoy a really nice cup of tea. Or after completing a tough work task, you allow yourself 5 minutes of guilt-free scrolling.
So the reward needs to be immediate.
Immediate is key. And satisfying to you, it closes the habit loop right away. It makes the action feel good now, not just beneficial later. It makes the whole process intrinsically more enjoyable, leveraging our wiring instead of fighting it.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Close the loop with satisfaction. So we have the blueprint. Make it obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying. It sounds like a foolproof system.
Yeah.
Almost.
Almost.
Because anyone who's tried this knows it's not always smooth sailing, right? There are bumps. You miss days. And maybe worst of all, sometimes you hit these plateaus.
Ah, yes. The dreaded plateau.
You're doing the work. You're applying the laws, ticking the boxes.
Yeah.
But you just don't see the results yet. And that is
Yes.
so demotivating. It makes you want to just quit. Clear has a name for this, right?
He does. He calls it the latent potential plateau.
The latent potential plateau. So what does this all mean for you, the listener? How do we get through that phase without giving up?
This is such a critical point because, honestly, so many people give up right before the breakthrough. The latent potential plateau is exactly that frustrating phase you described. You're putting in consistent effort, using the 4 laws, but the visible progress just isn't there yet.
It feels like spinning your wheels.
Totally. It's what Clear calls the valley of disappointment. Your effort feels wasted because you aren't seeing the immediate return on your investment of time and energy.
Yeah. Why does that happen?
Think of it like trying to melt a block of ice that's starting at, say, 10 degrees Fahrenheit, well below freezing. You're putting in energy, maybe hitting it with a heat source, but for a while, the temperature is just rising from 10 to 15 to 20, still below freezing.
So no visible melting.
Right. It looks like nothing is happening, even though you're working hard. Then suddenly, after all that effort, it hits 32 degrees, the freezing point, and bam, the ice starts melting rapidly. All that initial invisible work was essential, but the results only showed up after crossing that critical threshold.
So the results are building up unseen.
Exactly. This plateau links directly back to the compounding effect we talked about. Small improvements accumulate below the surface, often invisibly, for a long time before they finally break through, often dramatically. Like compound interest that looks slow, then suddenly takes off.
And people quit during that slow part.
Precisely. They get discouraged in that valley, conclude their efforts aren't working, and abandon ship right when they're about to see the real payoff. It's a test of faith in the process.
So what's the advice? How do we survive the valley?
Clear's advice is simple, but not easy. Be patient, take small steps, and remain consistent. Patience, small steps, consistency, those are the keys.
Just keep going, even when you don't see results.
Yes. Consistency through that plateau is what makes the difference. The people who achieve those extraordinary results, they aren't always the ones who made the biggest initial splash. They're the ones who kept showing up during that invisible accumulation phase. They trusted the process.
Okay. And what about setbacks? Missing a day.
That's going to happen. It's inevitable. You will miss a workout. You will eat the cake. You will slip up. The key isn't ever failing. It's getting back on track quickly. Don't let one missed day turn into 2, then a week, then giving up entirely.
The never miss twice rule.
Something like that, yeah. View the slip up not as proof you're a failure, but as a data point. What went wrong? Was the cue too strong? Was it not attractive enough? Not easy enough? Learn from it, adjust, and get back to it tomorrow. One stumble doesn't erase the journey.
So sticking with it through the plateau actually reinforces the identity.
Absolutely. It proves to yourself, I am the kind of person who persists, even when it's tough, even when the rewards aren't immediate. It solidifies that core belief. Small, continuous improvements do yield extraordinary results over time. That's the ultimate payoff for sticking it out. That's when atomic habits show their true colossal power.
That's really empowering. Success isn't linear, but sticking with it during the quiet times, that invisible growth phase, that's what counts. Having the conviction to keep going. Wow. Okay, so we've journeyed through atomic habits, the huge impact of tiny changes, the power of identity, the practical 4 laws as our toolkit.
Obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying.
Right. And tackling that frustrating but crucial latent potential plateau.
Okay.
Understanding why just keeping going is so critical. The big message seems crystal clear. Huge results don't come from one giant leap. They come from stacking up small, consistent actions. Every single one, a vote for who you want to be.
And this raises an important question for you, the listener, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What's so neat about Clear's framework is how it all fits together. It's not just random tips, it's a system.
Yeah, it connects.
Your identity